Welcome to Character Construction. Today, we figure out how to play as your favorite fictional characters as Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition characters. So for today's build, I'm with none other than Liu Kang. Alright, so some goals for this build are simple. We need the Fire God at our disposal. Next, we need him to be a Kung Fu warrior. After all, he is a master martial artist. Finally, we need the Champion of Earthrealm. Starting off with our stats, we're going to use the standard point array. Strength falls in at 10. I get that he's not a weakling, but he's not exactly the strongest there is. Dexterity falls in at 15. He is quite acrobatic and very agile. Moving on to Constitution, falls at 14. He is pretty durable, especially if he survives an entire murder tournament. Moving on to Intelligence, yeah, I get he's not a dummy, but he's not exactly the most book smart there is. Moving on to Wisdom, falling at 13. You are pretty wise, but it's also very important for our class later on. Finally, Charisma is a 12. He does have a nice Riz game. He did his up Katana after all. Moving on to our race, we're going to go with the Variant Human. Being a Variant Human grants you +1 to 2 ability scores of your choice, unlike the Standard Human, which grants you +1 to all ability scores. Our 2 ability scores are going to be Dexterity, bumping our Dexterity going from 15 to 16. And finally, we're going to go with Wisdom, going from 13 to 14. Our feat of choice is going to be the Elemental Adept feat, which allows you to treat ones on the dice as 2, and any creature that's resistant to our elemental choice being fire is no longer resistant to it. Just takes damage normally. And for our skill of choice, we're going to go with the Persuasion. You have to be pretty convincing to convince people you're the Fire God now. Moving on to our background of choice, we're going to go with the Acolyte background. Being an Acolyte grants you proficiency in Insight and Religion. Insight makes sense because you have to know what's going on, especially when you're dealing with shapeshifters like Shang Tsung. And Religion makes sense because you hang out with Lord Raiden quite often, and likely he's taught you a thing or two by now. Next up, it grants us 2 languages of our choice. I go Celestial and Draconic. And finally, we get a feature called Shelter of the Faithful, which allows you to receive free healing as long as you're at a temple, shrine, or another established presence of your faith, being that of Lord Raiden. And you can also expect free services, free care, as long as you remain good terms with the temple of your choice. Alright, we are finally going to get to our class. Level 1, we're going to take our first level in Monk. First level Monks gain Unarmored Defense, which allows you to use your Dexterity and your Wisdom modifier to determine your AC bonus. Currently, we are setting at about 15. Next, they get Martial Arts. Martial Arts grants you 3 features. You can use a D4 in place of the damage dice for unarmed strikes or monk weapon attacks. Next up, you can use your Dexterity in place of your Strength for attack and damage rolls. Finally, as a bonus action, after you hit with a melee attack, you can use a bonus action to make an unarmed strike. Next up, we gain 2 skills from the Monk class list. We're going to go with Athletics and Acrobatics. Both of them make sense as part of Liu Kang's Shaolin training. Next up, they gain 2 saving throws. Those saving throws are none other than Strength and Dexterity. Moving on to level 2, we're going to go another level in Monk. And we get Unarmored Movement. So as long as you're not wearing armor or wielding a shield, your movement speed increases by 10 feet, which does include flying, which is important for later on. Monks get key points at 2nd level, and we're just going to use to get Patient Defense, which allows you to spend a key point as a bonus action to take the dodge action. Step of the Wind allows you to spend a key point as a bonus action to either dash or disengage. Finally, my most favorite key ability, Flurry of Blows. When you take the attack action on your turn, you can spend a key point to take 2 extra unarmed attacks as a bonus action. Moving on to level 3, 3rd level Monks get Deflect Missiles. As a reaction, when you're struck by a ranged weapon attack, you can roll a d10 plus your Dexterity plus your Monk level to reduce the amount of damage taken. by your total result, based on what you roll, as well as all your other modifiers. If you reduce it to 0, you can spend a key point to attack back at your opponent as if it were a martial arts weapon, using your same attack roll bonus. Now we're going to go with our monistic tradition. We're going to go with Way of the Four Elements, which allows you to use ki to harness the 4 elements. Our first ability of choice is the Elemental Attunement. Within 30 feet of you, you can create a harmless, instantaneous effect, anything that has to do with air, earth, fire, or water. You can light or snuff a candle, chill or warm up 1 pound of non-living material up to 1 hour, or you can use earth, fire, water, or mist to create a 1-foot cube design of your choice. Next up, we're going with Fangs of the Fire Snake. Fangs of the Fire Snake allows you to increase your reach of your unarmed strike by 10 feet for that attack action by spending a key point, as well as it does fire damage instead of the normal bludgeoning damage. If you hit with that unarmed attack, you can spend another key point to add an additional d10 of fire damage. Alright, moving on to level 4. Level 4, we get an ability score improvement, which we're going to put into our dexterity, making our dexterity now an 18, which grants us +4, therefore increasing our unarmed attack rolls, unarmed damage rolls, and increase our AC and acrobatics, as well as our dexterity saving throws. Finally, we get Slow Fall. As a reaction, when you're about to take falling damage, you can reduce that damage equal to 5 times your monk level, which right now is 20. Moving on to level 5, we're going to take another level in monk. 5th level monks get extra attack. Now whenever you take the attack action, you make 2 attacks instead of 1. 5th level monks also get Stunning Strike. Whenever you hit with a melee weapon attack, you can spend a key point to attempt to stun them. Your opponent has to make a Constitution saving throw, or be stunned until the end of your next turn. Finally, we get a martial arts increase from D4 to D6. So now all our monk weapon attacks do D6 damage instead of D4. Moving on to level 6, we're going to take another level in monk. 6th level monks gain key empowered strikes. Now your unarmed strikes are considered magical for the purpose of overcoming damage resistance and damage immunities. Next up, we get another ability from our monastic tradition, which is the Sweeping Cinder Strike, which allows you to cast 2 key points at a minimum to cast Burning Hands. Each creature in the 15-foot cone must make a dexterity saving throw, or take 3d6 fire damage, or have on a successful one. Now, with the Way of the Four Elements, you can spend more key points to upcast it up to a certain point, as determined by the chart in the player's handbook. Check it out for yourself. Next up, our unarmed movement increases by 15 feet instead of 10 feet. Alright, moving on to level 7, we're going to take another level in monk. 7th level monks get evasion. So when you make a dexterity saving throw, if you fail, you only take half damage, but if you succeed, you actually take no damage. 7th level monks also get Stillness of Mind. You can use your action to end one effect on yourself that has caused you to be charmed or frightened. Pretty awesome when finding someone like Quan Chi, Shang Tsung, who try to charm you and manipulate you. Moving on to level 8. Level 8 monks get an ability score improvement, which we're now going to use to cap off our dexterity modifier all the way up to 20. Again, increasing our melee attack rolls, damage rolls, AC, dexterity saving throws, acrobatics, and then the other dexterity-based skill checks. Moving on to level 9. We're going to take another level in monk. 9th level monks gain unarmored movement improvement. So now, you can use your unarmored movement to run across vertical surfaces and across liquids without falling. As long as you end your turn on flat surfaces, you'll be fine. Moving on to 10th level, we're again taking another level in monk. 10th level monks gain Purity of Body, making you immune to disease and poison. As Champion of Earthrealm, you can't let simple earthly poisons poison you. And your unarmored movement increases to 20 feet now instead of 15. Alright, moving on to level 11. We're going to take another level in monk. Here we could stop here, and this could very well be the capstone of our build. Overall, I'd be satisfied if we stopped here, but let's move on. 11th level monks get a martial arts increase from a D6 to a D8, and we get more abilities from our monastic tradition. First up, we gain Flames on the Phoenix, which allows you to spend 4 key points at a minimum to cast Fireball. Each creature in a 20-foot sphere must make a dexterity saving throw, or take 86 fire damage on the failed save, or half as much on a successful save. Like I said before, you could spend more key points, as much in the player's handbook allows you to upcast it to do more damage. Now, we're going to replace the elemental attunement we gained from level 3 to gain Ride the Wind, which allows you to spend 4 key points to cast Fly. The Fly spell grants you a flying speed of 60 feet, and with proper concentration, it can last up to 10 minutes. Liu Kang, now being the fire god, can fly. Moving on to level 12, we're going to take another level in Monk. 12th level monks gain the ability score improvement. We're now going to put into our Wisdom, which increases our Wisdom saving throws, our Perception, as well as our Key saving throws, which is very important for our spells and our Stunning Strike, and increases our AC overall. And we go from a 14 all the way to a 16, making our Wisdom plus 3. Moving on to level 13, we're going to take another level in Monk again. 13th level monks get Tongue of the Sun and Moon. When you speak, every creature can understand you as long as they can understand a language. Moving on to 14th level monk. 14th level monks gain unarmed movement, which is now equal to plus 25 of your current movement speed instead of plus 20. 14th level monks also get Diamond Soul, which grants you proficiency in all saving throws. In addition, when you make a saving throw and you fail, you can spend a key point to re-roll the saving throw, but you must take the second result even if it's worse. Moving on to level 15, we're taking another level in Monk. 15th level monks gain Timeless Body. You cannot magically age, and you age at a slower rate compared to the rest of your mortal companions. Makes sense, as magically Liu Kang does not age, despite being in the Mortal Kombat realm for a long period of time. Moving on to level 16, we're going to take another level in Monk. 16th level monks gain ability score improvement, allowing us to increase our Wisdom even further. Now Wisdom is now 18, which now grants us a Wisdom bonus of plus 4. To level 17, we're going to go with our last level in Monk. 17th level monks gain a martial arts increase from a D8 all the way to a D10. Finally, we get our last ability from monastic tradition, which is none other than River of the Hungry Flame. River of the Hungry Flame allows you to spend 5 key points at a minimum to cast Wall of Fire. Initially, when Wall of Fire is cast, you can make the wall 60 feet long, 20 feet high, and 1 foot thick, or you can make a ring up to 20 feet diameter, 20 feet high, and 1 foot thick. When the wall appears, each creature within the wall must make a dexterity saving throw. On a failed save, they take 5d8 fire damage, or half as much on a successful save. Now, if a creature ends its turn either within the wall or within 10 feet of the wall, they take an additional d8 fire damage. Moving on to level 18, we're going to take our first level in Fighter. First level Fighters gain Second Wind. As a bonus action, you can regain hit points equal to d10 plus your fighter level. First level Fighters also gain a fighting style. We're going with the Blind Fighting Style. The Blind Fighting Style grants you a blind sight with a range of 10 feet. Within that range, you can effectively see anything that isn't behind total cover. Does not matter if you're blind or in complete darkness. More so, you can see an invisible creature within that range, as long as it doesn't hide from you successfully. Level 19, we're going to take a second level in Fighter. Second level Fighters gain Action Surge. When you use Action Surge, you can take another action that has the action trait. So now you can either attack again, or, my favorite, if you have enough key points, you can cast Fireball twice in one round. If you have enough key points, you can effectively deal 10d6 damage per attack. That's 26 damage of fire damage. Now, wouldn't that be sick? On to level 20, we're going to take our final level in Fighter. Third level fighter gain Archetype, we're going to go with the Battle Master. Because Battle Master grants you the Student of War, which grants you proficiency in an artisan's tool of your choice. But our most important feature is Combat Superiority, which grants you 48 that you recover on a short rest or long rest to fuel your maneuvers. Those maneuvers are Parry. When another creature damages you with a melee attack, you can reaction and expend a superiority die to reduce the damage based on what your own superiority die plus your dexterity modifier. Basically deflect missiles without adding any levels of any kind. But it applies to melee attacks only. Next up, we're going to Disarming Strike. When you hit a creature with a weapon attack, you can expend one of your superiority dice to attempt to disarm the target. You add the superiority die to the attack's damage roll, and the target must make a strength saving throw. If they fail, they must drop whatever object you choose, but it lands at their feet. Next up, we go with Sweeping Attack. When you hit a creature with a melee attack, you can spend one superiority die to attempt to damage another creature with the same attack. So you can choose any creature within 5 feet of the original target and within your reach. If the original attack roll would hit the second creature, it takes damage equal to the number you roll on your superiority die, and it's the same damage type as the original attack. Finally, we get Trip Attack. When you hit a creature with a weapon attack, you can spend one superiority die to attempt to knock the target down. You add the superiority die to the damage roll, and if the target is large or smaller, it must make a strength saving throw. On the failed save, you knock the target prone. Alright, that is it for our build. Let's talk about the pros. So pros include consistent high damage, both in melee and in range, with spells like Fireball, Wall of Fire, Burning Hands, and even your Fangs of the Fire Snake. You do pretty consistent high damage. Next up, we have combat adaptability. You already switch it. You can fight from range, you can fight from melee, and you can deal with flying creatures with your ability to fly now. Finally, you have decent saving throws. Not a lot of spellcasters are going to get their effect on you, or at the very least, you're not going to take full effect, unless it's a dexterity saving throw. Moving on to our cons of the build. Some cons include none other than having limited damage types. You only deal fire or bludgeoning damage. So you're up against something that has fire immunity, yeah, you're not going to be as effective as you normally would be. With that in mind, you are more so a solo combatant than a team combatant because of your area of effect spells. Unless you're willing to murder some of your party, or unless your party is willing to take some hits, you're not exactly the best team combatant. You're more of a solo fighter, one-on-one kind of person. One-man killing machine. Alright, thank you for watching. Family and friends that are interested in watching, send them the video.